Is Destiny 1 worth playing in the year of our Lord 2026? I think a lot of people are asking that question after what happened to D2, and it's a doozy. I mean, to answer the question now, I would say no. I don't think it is worth playing, but maybe. It depends on some criteria. Um, if you already have the game and you're on PlayStation or Xbox and you already have that and you already have Xbox Live or PS Plus, then sure, because you already own it, so why not? You can just kind of go back down memory lane with some friends or whoever and just play like any other game. It's not like a really a big deal that you're going back to an older game. There's nothing wrong with going back to an older game. I think the question is a little bit more for newer players, people that have never played Destiny or only played sequel. Is it worth for them to go back to experience the first game? Um, if you're a hardcore fan and you enjoy playing solo, then sure, you can get it on sale. But if you don't have a PlayStation because you play D2 on PC, or you don't have an Xbox, then you need an Xbox, and then you need Xbox Live or PS Plus, or then you know they have to buy the game. So there's the barrier to entry if you don't have the requirements is not really worth it. So if you already have those things, then sure. But if you don't, then no. Especially with like the technical limitations of D1, it's 30 FPS. There's no clamber. The gameplay is just in general. It's a slower game, and there's no PC port yet, if they ever make that. So, um, it is it's a slower game. You really got to get used to it. It's not like D2. It's not like a lot of like modern FPSs in a way. And It was just kind of the start of these things, and it's still good. I think it holds up in some ways, but you know it's kind of rough, especially when you like first start getting back into it. To give you a little bit of background on me, I have been playing Destiny for a significant portion of my life. The first game and the second game. Um, I've for the most part enjoyed the first game and the second game. Yeah, less so the second game as of late. Obviously, the last few years I stopped playing because the story was getting it's a lot of slop and the gear was terrible and it was just this. They just obviously didn't care anymore, and it just kind of became a cash cow that could churn, whenever Pete Parsons wanted a new car. So it became pretty bad. And I stopped playing for a while, and then I got back into it when I heard it was dying, so I didn't have to worry about having to buy the next DLC or to grind for the next thing. And you can just enjoy the game. You have that space, that breathing room to just enjoy the experience a little bit more. So I got back into it more recently. I stopped playing because I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, what about D1? I have a PS5. So I was like, well, it's on sale. I can buy it. It's $2. It's hard to think of a decent game that isn't worth $2 at least. But I didn't have PlayStation Plus, and I don't really have friends to play with. So I was like, well, I like this game and I want to play it, so I'm gonna do it. But I'm a little bit more of a hardcore player. I don't think this is as accessible or really a thing that a more normal person would be engaging with. So I bought the game. I played the game for a week. I started a new character. I started on the weekend, so I got Mask of the Third Man. I started a Blade Dancer. I'm not really a Blade Dancer guy, but I'm only really do gunslinger. I love Nighthawk and I love Golden Gun. It's like my favorite thing, and I never really did Blade Dancer. Um, so this is a new experience for me. I'm playing a new class. I'm like learning how like the skill trees work again, and like the gameplay, and like what little ins and outs of how this game is a lot more different than D2. And I've really honestly enjoyed it. I like Blade Dancer. I think it's really fun. A lot of the content is a lot better with Blade Dancer because of the invis. It's kind of mandatory, yeah, sometimes, unfortunately. just playing a lot of the content, by myself, especially for like half the week I didn't have PS Plus, so I was just doing all the story missions just to kind of save my money, and then I bought PS Plus to actually do the online content. Um, and then because my character would be leveled by that point, I'm at 380 now, as you can see, and that's just from playing for a week. I have about like 44-ish hours into the game, um, and that's just in 1 week. Um, so I've been playing it a lot, and I've been kind of really trying to understand the game and the bones of it, to understand kind of what was lost in translation in the sequel, and was this really a good game even when it came out. Everyone talks a lot better about it now, but everyone kind of hated a lot of aspects about D1 when it came out, and I think a lot of people forget that this game was kind of chopped into bits when it first came out, to be sold separately um, on release. A lot of this content was cut. A lot of things weren't even put in the game that they wanted to deliver in different ways in the story and the gameplay. I'm sure environments, etc. There's just a lot of things that we'll never know that we could have had, and that's sad. But this game has had a rocky road, and Bungie's had a rocky road, and they might be out the door soon as far as just being a company that's just might actually die in the future. So it's a crazy legacy I think they left behind, and I think they left a lot of good stuff in D1 as far as like the concepts. Um, there are some really beautifully crafted environments that I have missed and I have been seeing again, that you just like it's just lost in translation in D2. These kinds of things just aren't in that game. There's ambiance, the sounds, the music in this game. Like, the music in this game is truly a 10 out of 10. Like, consistently good everywhere. And the tower and the reef in the gameplay, when you're just kind of running around, when you're just doing nothing, when you're in orbit, like, I have consistently in my week of playing have noticed just how good the soundtrack is in all aspects of the game, in every part of the game. It is genuinely impressive how consistently good it is. And all the music in D2 kind of sucked, in my opinion. I really didn't like most of it. It was very, very boring, or not even really a part of the experience. But in D1, it is like almost the forefront of the experience. It's always there in like some small ways or in big ways, and it's always good. It's like they really nailed that for sure. So that hasn't aged a day, as far as I'm concerned. But obviously D2 is in general a better looking game. It's a more like a modern game, you know what I'm saying? This is a console game at 30 FPS. So what is this game making up that D2 has lost? Well, the lighting. The lighting is better. If we're just talking graphics right now, the lighting is a lot better in this game, and there's more kind of love and care. I'm gonna put a clip of, like, I think I have Mars and Venus and in the Dreadnought. Like, these areas are beautiful, and they really come across with a lot of like the apocalypse vibes, and kind of like it's a little dirty, it's a little gritty, and it's just this vibe that they nailed in the concept art, and they, I think, really brought it to life, and I think that still really shows in like a modern interpretation of the game, kind of going back to it. This is still a vision that was understood, graphically, that in the art, that was unfortunately kind of missed in D2, because the story direction was different, or they just didn't care as much, etc. But it holds up in this game, and I notice it, and it's impressive. Really, really impressive. The audio is a little bit better too. Sparrows sound really good. They sound like harsher. They got more power behind them. Like, just listen to this. I was kind of recording the scene, and some guys drove past me. sparrows just sound kind of boring in D2. They sound really flat. A lot of the sounds in D2 are kind of flat, but like the shooting sounds better in D1. A lot of like little objects when they hit the floor or they move in some way, they have like a sound to them. And there's a lot of like sound effects I feel like that are kind of missing in D2. Like the game's like kind of flat in a lot of ways, but everything kind of has a noise in D1. There's just a noise attached to kind of everything, and you can really feel that kind of builds the world out so you feel like you're interacting with it a little bit more. It's kind of hard to explain what I'm talking about. Like, but when you've been playing the game for like a week straight for like 40 hours, you kind of are gonna understand what I'm saying. But there are just small things like that it really nailed, and 30 FPS is a hard pill to swallow in our modern day and age. Of the new expectation is a 60 FPS game, and that's just not what this is. It takes a little bit to get used to. It's not impossible, but this is a slower game. It's a console game, so is how I do love how the slowness of the game translates into Crucible, though. I do think this is it's a more fun Crucible experience. Crucible's not in general that fun, but it's more fun in D1 because everything's kind of jank a little bit and everyone's a lot slower. So it's a lot like more of like a forgiving kind of fun experience. In D2 is like just everyone's so everyone's so fast. Everyone's on PC, moving crazy on mouse and keyboard, doing all these crazy things. And it's just like D1 it's a little jank, and everyone's just kind of on controller on a 30 FPS game, and I think that's fun. It's not as serious, and you can just kind of have fun with it, and it's good. I enjoy playing the Crucible a little bit more. With the jankness of it, I appreciate it. Now it's kind of weird to appreciate that, but so I had to buy PS Plus to play this game, to play not just the campaign missions and patrols. That's all you have access to if you don't buy PS Plus or Xbox Live. And like I was saying, there's another barrier to entry. If you have an Xbox but you haven't been playing on it for a while and you want to get into this game, well, if you want to do the end tier content, even if you're a solo player, you're gonna have to fork up for a month or 3 months or whatever, and it's just not really worth it just for this game. If you're only playing this game for that, it's just not really worth it, unfortunately. I did it because I wanted to experience it again, and I wanted to make this video, but there's just a lot of reasons not to play this game, unfortunately. If this game was free on Xbox Live and PS Plus, and you could just kind of play it and you didn't have to buy anything, or like all you had to do was buy the game, then I would say yeah, because there's not really a lot of the only real barrier to entry is just, do you have a console at that point, and do you just want to buy this game? But you should buy it on sale, obviously. So yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow when you know why are they charging us to play these games that are over 10 years old, man, to play online? Like, it's just ridiculous. Because even if you buy PS Plus or Xbox Live, guess what? You still got to do the search for people. Hopefully you find somebody in these strikes or Crucible matches and stuff. Like, it's a little bit more popular now after D2 died, but it's gonna fall off again eventually. So it's just like, why are they even charging for this shit? So that's unfortunate. And I think if they really wanted to have more of a peak kind of D1 experience, they would make it crossplay, have 60 FPS. Probably can't do mantling because that'd be too complicated to implement, which wouldn't be a big deal if the game was 60 FPS. And maybe tune the meta a little bit and have different ways of getting other loot that is in the game that you don't know exists. The game is like it ended at a weird note, basically. The Rise of Iron, they brought back the raids and stuff like that, but it didn't really have the end like D2 has. They kind of prepared it a little bit more for the game to be in the world that it's in the meta that it's in, but they didn't really do that as much for D1. So D1 is kind of in like this weird stagnant state where it wasn't left in the best condition for its death. And that definitely shows, unfortunately. I wish there was little bit. They're like a kind of like a collections, or just they were better with what merchants had to sell, like when they did did the rotations for their equipment. They had different stuff. It wasn't just kind of the same things with different roles, because there's like a lot of loot in this game that you just don't really know exists, and hopefully you get it in an engram. Like, you don't really see a lot of it, and you're able to get a lot of it. You're only able to buy the latest stuff that they added, um in with the vendors. So it's just like this weird, like, not really explained to you very well. This game doesn't hold your hand as much, which you either love or you hate. And I think there's a lot to be said about that when the game is harder. This is a harder game, and it is more unforgiving, especially with the randomness of the loot. That might be a huge kind of put off for a lot of people. Um, but you either love it or you hate it. Truly, I've been enjoying it, and that the gameplay feeling of I got a thing that is now able to help me do something else I didn't realize I could do if I didn't have this is like, feels really good. And can be random in the way that I got the item or the gun that is now giving me the ability to do something else that I wasn't able to do. That is, unfortunately, can be random. But like when it clicks, you're like, oh, I got this thing and now I can do this. I feel that feels a lot better. In this game, you feel like you earn something in a way. In D2, you don't really feel that. You can kind of use whatever gun you want, and you can kind of just use anything and make it work, because the game's, one, is not that hard, and two, is very easy to get anything that is good you would need for the whatever meta is currently out. Like, I like the skill trees a little bit more too. I think you can have some, not a lot of diversity in the builds, just because of like how they started to do them, but I think there are interesting choices in the skill trees to be made for Blade Dancer. I wish they did did I wish they changed a couple things, but I do find myself like kind of switching to different things for what I need. Like, there isn't just a one does all, except for the Vanish for the super. I think that's kind of mandatory for Blade Dancer, but yeah, this game, there was definitely some things that I missed. I realized I missed playing it, and I was like, wow, I wish that was this in D2. You're just like, wow, I cannot believe like they just missed out on this environment, this sound, this the way that the guns look or feel, or the perks or the attachments, because guns have like a lot of scopes and shit in the first game, and they don't really do that in the second game, and that's really annoying. And it's just like they could have gone more into depth with like the individual parts of a gun too if they wanted to, but they just chose not to do a lot of things, and it's very disheartening to see the decline of D2. So people feel like they had to go back to the first game to get more of that authentic experience that they are seeking. Um, so yeah, to recap, no, not really worth playing, unfortunately, unless you really want to experience the game again. But as a new player, I just don't really feel like there's a lot for you to get out of this game if you weren't a part of the train when it came out. There is some fun stuff, but especially if you're a solo player and you're new to this game and you don't have friends because you're a solo player, then even if you have Xbox Live or PS Plus, it is just not. Um, I just don't feel like you're gonna get a lot out of the game like you may be wanting, because unfortunately the raids are kind of like, it's not like a big part of the game, but they're a significant portion of content that people keep talking about when they reference this game. And to miss out on that because you don't feel comfortable doing it, you don't know how to do it, you don't want to look it up, or you don't have friends, or you have to join a Discord, because then you have to attach your Discord to your Xbox or PlayStation, and then you have to find somebody, and then you have to find a team of 6 people, and then hopefully they know what they're doing, and then you're not just at some encounter for hours, and you have to look up what you're doing, and and then you have to get that 380 or to be able to do end game content, and it's just so it's a lot to ask for a new person to get into Destiny. It's definitely a lot easier for like a more experienced player like me to be like, oh yeah, I just want to get back into this because I had a fun time. But to ask a random person to do these things, to buy this game, to buy PS Plus or Xbox Live, to get to the end game, to understand what is good and bad in the perks, how to do certain quests, how to unlock certain quests, to do encounters, to look up how to do the encounters, to have a raid team that is patient, to find 5 other people, to be running meta stuff. Like it is just unfortunately is asking too much for it to really be worth it in a way that you would really be able to feel like, oh wow, I did that and I had such a great time doing it, if there's because like at least in D2 there's you can find a fire team that's an in-game implemented thing. A lot of features and things in this game are old or just not really there like they are in D2, so you don't have a way of getting a fire team unless you're on Discord or whatever. There's like other sites or whatever, but it's just you have to leave the game to go be able to get a team to then go back into the game to hopefully all get together, etc. So yeah, unfortunately, I want people to experience D1 because I think there are a lot of good things that are worth experiencing, but for your average normal person, no, I wouldn't bother with it, unfortunately. Um, and those are my thoughts. If you have a different opinion or even, I don't know, want to play with me or whatever, I'm on PlayStation at AV Del Sol. Add me. We can do patrols, Archon's Forge. There's literally nobody doing Court of Oryx. I've never seen anyone do Court of Oryx in the patrol on the Dreadnought. So because I need to do like some Court of Oryx stuff, and there's like no one there. So ever. Uh, but yeah. So that is my experience of D2 and sorry of D1, and I don't know if I want them to kind of come back and make the game. It'd be nice to have like 60 FPS and make a cross play or and things like that. But I think Bungie's dead. I think they're dead in the water. I think they're going to be sold for parts pretty soon, so we'll see how that ends. But from one player to the world to YouTube, this has been my experience in this game, and I am glad that I came back to it to experience things that I've forgotten as a teenager, and I can experience them now as an adult.